Hello, can you hear me well? Let me just settle this. Let's find out. Alright, I'm gonna start with the stream. Just ignore this. This is for my dumpling later. Oh, let me wash my hands. Alright, I am going to kickstart the oven and the stove. Can you hear me clearly? Are you able? Okay, that's better. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
that's.
that.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my, how do I deafen this?
Deafen. Okay, okay. Uh, Hello, I'm back. Where is my phone? Wait for me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. No? My stream is dead. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, my setup isn't very good. Can you hear me? Let me see. Oh, okay, I think I know why. Okay, okay. What about now? Can you hear me now? Okay, can you hear me now? I think you should be able to. Yes, yes, perfect, perfect. All right, so this is my apron. I bought it from Spain, from the Basque country. It's called pinchos, which is essentially like a side dish where they'll have different snacks. All right, let's take a look at what Daryl has bought me. This is for dessert. We have 4 chocolate mousse. Uncle Ben's. This is a disgrace to us Asians. This is for people who don't have rice cookers. Please. Okay, I'll use this anyway. Wait. Ooh, we have close cooked mushrooms. Very nice. I can make a fried rice with mushrooms. I have over here beer battered onion rings. I'm going to throw this in the oven. Yes. Italian tomato puree from a white organization. I have a British roast chicken, which I will probably throw in the oven as well. I have soft cheese, perhaps gonna incorporate it with the rice. I have a jar of tomato chutney, which I can perhaps smear over the chicken. And I have red onions. I have 3 of them. And I can incorporate this with the golden vegetable and the mushroom. I need to elevate it, huh? And look at what we have here. Raw chicken juice in the bag. Salmonella, no. I'm gonna show this in the fridge. Alright, let me just get everything out of the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write my menu over here. I'm gonna have a roasted chicken, marinated with mango chutney. And I'm gonna have this beer batter. What I'm gonna do right now is to actually get all these things in the oven, the things that I'm gonna in the oven. Dessert, I'm gonna keep it. So I'll put this mousse and the soft cheese inside first. Tomato puree will be mixed with the rice. So what I'm gonna do is to prepare this chicken over here, and I have a tray over here. It smells like mango chutney. Let me settle the chicken first. Look at my knife here. No, I'm gonna use a sharper knife. Just joking. yeah, I should have taken a pic. You are absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me. Perfect mango chutney. So roast in the back, whole chicken. That means that I don't even have to cut it or anything. And do a better onion rings. Mushrooms, onions. Is there anything else I'm missing? Absolutely not. I'm going to take a bit of flash. Alright, fantastic. Let me send a picture of the ingredients first. It's well placed. Can someone set the timer as well? So I'm gonna put this to the side first. Yum, look at this. I'm going to take my morning sea salt, which I'm going to finish it over here. A sophisticated dish, right? Let me get rid of this salmonella juice first. So using the ingredients that I have, what I can do is to stuff on mushrooms, stuff an onion as well. Got this cute little board, very nice, very cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the onion first. Maybe I'll show it to you. Such a small table. Yeah, I'm just gonna peel it. Yeah, I'm gonna use this as my dish. I'm gonna stuff this in the chicken. Before that, I'm gonna sea salt it. And stuff it in. I'm gonna wash my hands, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to throw some mushrooms in as well. I'm just gonna stuff 5 mushrooms in. I'm gonna wash them first. I'm gonna take out the stalks. I don't have a ring twine string, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna force it to close this way. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap the chicken. I'm gonna use this tomato puree and mango chutney to wrap them up. stove. So you see over here, when it comes, there is a seal. There is this sharp end over here. Just poke it. Then Patak's mango chutney. Very nice. I'm gonna get a drop here. Another dollop. About 2.5 tablespoons. Then I'm gonna add some tomato puree. It's very thick, so let's try to mix it. Okay, so the thickness of the tomato puree together with the viscosity of the mango chutney will actually form sort of a tomato sauce consistency. Smelling like dog's vomit. You try it? Actually not that bad. Yeah, it's sweet. It's mostly sweet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna season it more with some sea salt. I'm just gonna stick to the ingredients, the main ingredients here. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a rub. In the meantime, let me just get my oven. Yeah, it's hot. And then we just rub it all over. In the end, when it's in the oven, it's gonna caramelize. So it's okay to get quite a bit. So what we want is that umami flavor. Let's get it rub. It's usually better to do it with gloves. But it's okay for this. I'm gonna wash my hands anyway. Just massage it, massaging like you're massaging your mom. She had a hard day at work, and sometimes what she really wants is a rub from her husband or her wife. Let me just get more of this. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna take out some mushrooms. So now I'm gonna intertwine this. I don't have a stick, but this is what I have. It's kind of rub is all gone, but it's definitely ideal to put this in the oven, in the fridge for about overnight. But we are on a tight schedule. Let me wash my hands with soap, yeah, salmonella. I mean, it's alright if I even get salmonella. This is not strong. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I am going to put this in the oven. Let me get my thick kitchen foil. So what you really want to do is to cook the chicken. Well, the recommended temperature is about 72 degrees Celsius, as recommended by the FDA. I'm going to throw in the molten salt later at the end. So really what we're going to do is to actually try to reach an internal temperature of about 69 degrees Celsius, because that's the most nice number. Yes, perfect. Alright, so now the tomato puree. I'll probably use this for the Uncle Ben's. It must taste so disgusting. Golden vegetable with your yellow rice. Okay, what's the time? Someone give me a timer, please. Oh my god, this is like... Oh my god, this is like field camp, except it's cold. Oh, I'm supposed to microwave this, right? Squeeze the pouch to separate the rice. I'm gonna stir fry it anyway. I'm gonna preheat my pan first for now, but in the meantime, let's cut the ingredients. I'm just gonna use one onion. I'll keep the remaining one, and then I
mushroom. Let me just wipe down my bench. I will use the mango chutney at the end so that I can be like Jamie Oliver, you know, putting the mango chutney at the end of the cooking process. I'm actually also going to put this beer battered ingredients as well now. Well, maybe I need a timer for my chicken. I'm gonna put it 15 minutes in the oven first. Did I say salmon? Salmonella? That's what I said. Anyway, I actually got dumpling meeting. Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna just Hey Daryl, I got dumpling cook along soon. Is it okay if I do that first? Then I can work on the chicken later. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slow cook the chicken. So it'll be all nice and luscious and juicy at the end. Oh! Can someone entertain me? Hello, is anyone here? Got dumpling session. Do you hear what I say just now? About what I'm gonna do to the chicken? Okay, I don't think I want to repeat myself. You can check it out later on the stream. I'm sure it needs oven. Beautiful. Pizza prosciutto, inspired by the famous Ligurian Taggiasca olives with prosciutto and oozing mozzarella. Yeah, but later I need to zoom and stream. I don't know how should I do that. Damn it. Yeah, wrong time. Never mind. I'm trying to think what should I do now. Sorry to disappoint you, Daryl. Oh, actually, you can see me do whatever I have to do later. Can I use Zoom on my phone? That's the question. Yeah, see, I'm so unprepared. Can I use Zoom on my phone? Yes, I can. Perfect. Let me... Oh yeah, actually, you are able... Yes, actually I can. Yeah. Wait, let me see how can I do this. Yeah, I can do this. And then the other screen I can go to. Bear with me, I'm just trying to fix up the screen. 新年快乐，万事如意，身体健康，长命百岁。What is the meeting passcode? 907920. Oh, okay. Let me just prepare the ingredients. I will share what I need to prepare. 잠시만요. Window capture. Yes, fantastic. Are you able to see that? Yes, please. I'm gonna put a foil on my chicken. Oh, it's here. And then you can tune into the stream later as well. I'm gonna do something to put foil over. The stream starts in about 10 minutes actually. I'm gonna cook the chicken real slowly. Minutes. Wait for 10 minutes and the stream will start. Okay. This will be for my flour and this will be for my minced pork. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take everything out first. Actually you can't see, right? Okay. So small. Plain flour, soy sauce, sesame oil, water chestnuts. Minced pork. Flour, warm water, water chestnuts. I'm gonna weigh all the ingredients first. Weighing scale is here. Should I sieve my flour? I need about 250 grams. And then I'm never using this again. I'll take the water now. Okay, I got my 100 grams pork mince. Well, I kind of wanted to use yeah, I really actually wanted to use tofu, but the shop didn't have it. Let me see how many people are on my stream. If there is less than 2, I will just leave. Very nice, there are 4 people! I'm gonna be a famous YouTuber. So So it says here that I need about 10 water chestnuts finely diced, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dice my water chestnuts. Ta-da! Crispy, crunchy. I'm gonna keep this for later. Just chopping up my water chestnuts now. It's such a small ball. Actually, making food videos is difficult if you don't have the right equipment. The camera is gonna be dark soon. It's actually dark now. I don't have ASMR equipment. Okay, this is done. Maybe not. Okay, that's a bit too much, but it's okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is to... Actually, that's it. Pork mince. I'm gonna put it in my stainless steel. Yeah, I should have taken a picture of the ingredients. Let me do that. Pork mince, water chestnut, white pepper, like soy sauce. Oh yeah. They actually sent over some. Yeah, there we go. We have Sichuan peppercorns. Chili flakes, Sichuan peppercorn over here, characterized by its activation of the TRPV1 and TRPA1 receptors. We have dry bay leaves. I'm supposed to mix with some vegetable oil later. Let me see who's my loyal supporters. Okay. ICT, fantastic. What else do I need? I don't have coriander, but I have parsley. I'm just gonna pretend it's coriander. What else is next? Corn flour potato starch. I have that, yes. Yeah, I was supposed to make risotto with this Sauvignon Blanc, but I got around to doing it. Kingsford cornstarch, fantastic. Oh my gosh, such a small workspace. And I have absolutely nothing. No, it's okay. I'm too lazy to get a cloth. Actually, I think that's all I need. So I'm gonna take a picture of my camera. Let me just reply my friend who is on the chat. Cook alive as well. Cook alongside. Wait out, let me just. Okay. In a few minutes time, probably in 1 minute, the host will let me in, and then I will mute myself. Why is my screen showing? Okay, it's not showing anymore. Fantastic. Hey, I don't see my personal Facebook. I have no white pepper, I have black pepper. Does that count? Oh, I have Chinese pie spice. Fantastic. From Esther. Such best. What else do I need? Sesame oil. I have ikan tea. Fantastic. Stephanie's bay leaves. Oh, I got ginger. Hey, ginger got rising fungus. I'm cutting my ginger right now. No, I just need a bit. I'm cutting thin slices. I'm gonna cross chop it. If anything happens, just give me a Telegram call and I know something is wrong. Okay, I'm gonna my ginger here. Yeah, actually my setting is very bad. Yeah, why they haven't let me in? I need to 小便了. Let's see what else I have. Okay, I think that's it. Let me take a picture one more time. Yeah, I got Chinese chives also. Which I was gonna use. That's my timer for the chicken. Got no chicken. some Chinese chives. Just gonna cut it. And wash it. Now when it comes to contact with water, it's gonna wilt very fast. So I'm gonna use my sharp knife and just give it a rough chop. I don't need this fake Italian parsley anymore. Okay, big job, Tiger. Hey, my place looks like a mess. And just wash everything up. They're still not letting me in. Ooh, can I in? No, I'm not. Hey, yeah, it's still there. Okay. Hey, I'm supposed to empty my lens here, right? Look at this. Beautiful. The blood smells super yummy. Yeah, actually, so let's see if I can make it brighter. Oh yeah, the light is flickering. This thing you're gonna have to clean it up. Let's clear my table. I'm gonna compose this later. Let me see what my friends say. Let's look at Telegram too. This is my friend's setup. I don't know why it got sent like that. How's that? Really so slow. Maybe 5 more minutes. That is Chinese chives. I'll take the oil leaf and let me see what else do I need to prepare. I have absolutely not many of those things. Oh, I don't have a, this is gonna be my rolling pin. Yes, let me just take away one layer of wrap. Oh, actually. Oh, threw it away. Some of those just these. Yeah, sesame seeds. Yeah, no rolling pin. This will have to do. Rolling pin. Fantastic. I have absolutely nothing that they needed me to. Actually, dumpling, they're not very good. I'm only good at eating dumpling. This is a dumpling cook along for white people from my school. I don't know how to make dumplings that well, so I am a dumpling moron as well. Can you see the whole email? It says, I can't think of a better way of spending a Friday night in lockdown than celebrating Chinese New Year with you all. Hope you are ready to cook. Remember to have your ingredients weighed and Zoom ready to go. Don't forget the competition. Post photos or videos using EHU Cook Along on social media channels below. You may win some goodies. Happy Chinese New Year! 新年快乐! Yeah, xiaolongbao, I tried to make it, but it was so difficult. I couldn't even fold the plates properly. Hello, why are there only 3 followers? I need 1,000 subscribers. Alright, we are in. I'm just gonna mute myself. I am going to mute myself. Yes. No, only 5 people. I cannot hear what they are saying at all. Actually, I think I'm gonna let me see if this works. Oh crap, I actually can't hear them at all. I think there will be no sound now because the way my headphone works. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna not use my headset. Actually, that'll be bad. Okay, I'm gonna try this. I actually hear nothing. Why I can't hear anything? Yeah, I don't know why. Let me take my other headset. Ayo, I cannot hear, sir. Oh. Oh no, I think I need to. Damn it. Yeah, never mind. You just. Can you hear me? Can you hear me on my stream? Tell me in Telegram. What I usually do is. No leh, no leh. Usually from this I will be able to get an output. Okay, then that means that. My Zoom audio is.
Here's everyone. Hello, Mark.
Fantastic. I can hear them. Can you hear me on my stream?
Are we ready to go? Are we waiting or?
I have
I'm
to.
okay. I'm ready.
I'm ready. I was just trying to get a hold of Ben. Maybe it's just one of them things, but I know they've got all the stuff prepared because he was chopping. I've just rang him a minute ago.
Oh, I think if he keeps trying, then hopefully it's it. I need to go to the garden and get Bailey.
Lily Joy, you look really beautiful. I love you.
She's your Sam.
Is it a Cheongsam? A Cheongsam? What is it?
I got
A
it.
Cheongsam. You have a Cheongs. Is that a Cheongsam you have on? Is that what
got
it's
it
called?
at the market. She bought it, bastard for it in the Chinese home market.
Oh,
Okay, shall we start?
Can we ask everyone to mute themselves?
You've taken the words out. Yes. Can you all please mute yourselves, except for May, who's going to do a little introduction?
Sam,
Yes.
it's Elaine. Can we just say a couple of things first before we start? May's going to introduce the session, and I would just like to remind everyone that there is a competition tonight.
It's a competition tonight.
So
I've never made dumplings
please
before.
post on social media. Use the hashtag EHU Cook Along, and the 5 top posts will get
Hey,
Edge
why
Hill
is mine-
hoodie and some Chinese memorabilia. I'm not judging it. We've got an impartial judge out of corporate comms who are going to judge the post tonight. So please, let's see how much fun you're having, because it's really hard to see on these small screens, and share what you're doing tonight. I'll hand you over to Meg, and then we need to get started. Have fun.
Yeah, my Discord just froze.
Okay, May?
Hey. Okay.
Okay, it's back.
Are you ready to do your introduction?
Elaine, you say you go first.
I've just done my little bit, May. Do you want?
I go first. Okay. Hello everyone. 新年快乐.
Let me see my chicken.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good evening. It's a real honor and pleasure for me to have you here with us at this event to celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year, the Year of the Ox. In our Chinese culture, ox is a symbol of hard work, positivity, honesty, and good fortune. I would like to take tonight's opportunity to wish all of you a very healthy and harvest year. Over the past 9 years, our Confucius Institute, serving as a bridge between Edge Hill University and its partner in China, Chongqing Normal University, has made great accomplishments in providing high-quality teaching and learning experience and collecting people from both sides with brilliant cultural exchange ideas and mutual understanding. So tonight, I'm grateful to you and all of those who have always been keen to care, participate, and contribute to the smooth development of our institute. And I believe that with your continuous support, our institute will overcome all the challenges brought by the uncertainty of the ongoing global pandemic and try to meet the needs of Chinese language learning and the cultural exchanges of local communities. So, when the pandemic is over, I warmly welcome all of you to come to our institute in person to learn Mandarin Chinese and make some delicious Chinese food together, like tonight's dumplings. And I also hope the day will come soon when you visit China to explore the charming Oriental culture. Once again, wish everyone a smooth and successful year of the ox. Tonight, there is a very interesting competition. All you need to do is share a picture of your Chinese dumpling on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the hashtag EHUCookaLong, and we will choose 5 winners from our favorite photos. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I think it's
Okay,
okay.
Amanda, your turn.
Right, brilliant. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're Cracking Good Food, and I will be coordinating the session this evening. Please make sure you keep your devices on mute unless we ask you to unmute them. And if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat box. Cracking Good Food, I'll just give you a really brief Cracking Good Food introduction. We've been cooking and teaching people how to cook nutritious, healthy meals for nearly 10 years now. During the pandemic, we have been, instead of teaching people to cook, we have been delivering meals to the communities in need. So since March, we've cooked and delivered over 65,000 meals, and we've had about 9,000 incredible volunteer hours. That's one part of our business. The other part is the cookery school that you're a part of tonight. So without further ado, and have I done all my ifs and buts? Yes, I think I have. Over to Sam, and let's get cooking.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, May.
Okay, Sam.
Welcome everybody to your Cracking Good Food online cook along. My name is Sam, and I'm one of Cracking Good Food's cooking leaders. And as Amanda explained before, we have been doing a lot of cooking for people who are isolating because of the current pandemic. But so I'm one of the cooking leaders that works on that, as is Amanda. However, we also teach cookery in the community and in the cookery school that we would usually hold when face-to-face classes are available. So I'm going to teach you today how to cook my Chinese-style dumplings. My family are from southern China, from Hong Kong, and this is a recipe that has been taught to me
she's
by
actually
my
Asian.
mom, and we call
from
them
Hong Kong.
gaozi. So I speak Cantonese, I don't speak Mandarin. I'm sure that most of you are learning to speak or do have a proficient level of Mandarin, but unfortunately my Mandarin is very minimal. So we're going to be doing our gaozi, which you can also call pot stickers. So they are pan fried, and that's the reason why they're called pot stickers, because they have a tendency to stick to the bottom of the pot. But if you've got a good non-stick frying pan or wok, then you shouldn't have that problem. We are going to be cooking everything from scratch today. You should have all the ingredients prepared and chopped and weighed out ready to go. Hopefully you do. If I glance over to my right-hand side, it's because I've got a laptop to the side where I can see all of your grids, all your pictures, in case I need to look at anybody's cameras in case you get stuck with anything. But as Amanda said before, do put a question in the chat box and she can feed me those questions.
What do you mean you can't understand?
Really important for what we're doing right now. So the first thing that we're going to do is make our dough. I've weighed out my plain flour. So hopefully you've got a bowl that you can put all your plain flour into. And then we've also got some warm water.
Warm water.
Now, the reason we use warm water is because it helps to develop the gluten quickly. It doesn't have to be hot water. You can use cold water if you haven't got any warm water. It just would mean that you need to rest the dough a little bit bit longer. So we're going to make our dough, and then if you've got a clean tea towel or some cling film, you're just going to rest it to one side, and then we'll make our chili oil dip and the meat filling that we're going to be making. So I'm just going to talk to you whilst I'm going to bring this dough together. So you've got about 150 millilitres of water.
Yeah, I need 150
you might not
grams.
need all of that water. So the recipe says 130 to 150. So I'm going to put 3/4 of the water into my bowl of flour. And then I'll see how it comes together. And then I'll slowly start adding the remainder of the water and see whether I actually need it all. Now you can do that with me. you'll see as you slowly add the water that it will start rehydrating that flour quite quickly. Now, if we put too much water in, it's going to become too sticky and quite difficult to work with. If you do get to that stage, don't worry, because you can always add more flour in. So you should have some extra flour for dusting. So hopefully you've got a bit of extra flour just in case it gets a bit too sticky. So let's start off doing that. So I'm just going to pour it straight in. So about 3/4 of it, and I'm going to go straight in with my hands. You don't have to. I've washed my hands, and I quite like working with my hands. So I'm just going to go straight in like that. Hopefully you can actually see the camera view, which is just pointing at my worktop so that I can give you a close-up view of what's happening. If you're on a device which you can only see one window at a time, one view, then it's better for you to stick the sideway view of the worktop only rather than my front-on view, because you'll see a lot more detail of what's happening. So I need quite a bit more water in mine, so I'm just going to slowly add more in. If anyone's made pastry before or bread before, it's a very similar technique. This dumpling pastry or dumpling dough is a really basic and simple thing to do. It's just flour and water. Some people like to add oil and some people like to add salt, but my recipe is just using flour and water. If you wanted to add some extra flavour, then just put maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt into it. But we're going to have our chili oil dip that's going to add a lot of flavour as well. So I'm not going to add that salt. So if you can see, I've got quite a lot of extra flour that's not been rehydrated. So I'm just going to put the rest of my water in. So I think it's going to be able to take it all. But you see if you need that. Just add it in slowly. I think I've got quite a dry flour.
What weapon? I got music.
Well, saying that, it's a bit too wet now, right? So I'm going to get my flour out. So the easiest way to do this is just to put your hand into the flour. So I can hear somebody's not muted their camera. Just double check that you've been muted, because I'm getting a bit of background noise from somebody.
Yeah, must be me. Not me, I muted.
Okay. If you've got anything on your worktop, just move things away so that you've got a bit of space, because we're going to be needing it. So what you need is your dough to come away from the side of the mixing bowl quite easily without it being sticky and without there being any extra flour left in the bowl. I think I may have measured out my water inaccurately. So today is a bit more flour.
Wow, actually it's so sticky.
So I'm going to turn my dough out onto the worktop.
I'm a failure, man.
And I'm going to start just bringing my dough together until I get a nice smooth ball of dough. So we're going to knead it for about 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, I need more flour.
It depends on how much energy you put behind this.
Ew.
Just to give you a little bit of history around Chinese dumplings and why we actually eat them for Chinese New Year. So it's a very traditional dish to have with your family to see in the new year. So we make them as a family, as a group of people, together on Chinese New Year's Eve, which was yesterday. And everybody gathers together, get around the table, make dumplings together, and then when it reaches midnight, we prepare our dumplings in the way that we want to eat them, and we share them together as a way to bring in good fortune into the new year. Okay, so as you can see, my ball of dough has come together. I haven't got any extra flour left. However, there's still quite a lot of kneading that needs to be done. So what I need to do is to be able to push my finger into it and it won't really make an indentation. So I'm just going to keep kneading that for a while. You might need to put some extra flour on the worktop just to stop it from sticking. But if it's not sticking, then don't worry about adding extra flour because you don't want the dough to be too dry. As I said before, some people like to add some oil, some vegetable oil into their dough. And the reason people do that is because they say that it gives the dough a better texture. So if you were to have the dough very thin and very light, then you can roll out the dough into much thinner discs. And that's much better for if you're going to be steaming the dumplings, for example. Okay, so hopefully everyone's dough is starting to come together. I don't know if you can see mine. Mine's still a little bit tacky to touch. It's not sticking to my hands, but it's a little bit tacky. Just going to keep on kneading it. Sorry, my camera seems to be wobbling because of the tripod that I'm using. How's everyone getting on? Okay, I'm just going to look over to my laptop to see everybody's cameras, and I just want you to show me your dough just at the lens so I can see how everyone's getting on. So Eve's, yours looks great, and Tori's looks good. Anna, I think yours looks good as well. I think everyone's gotten there. Yes.
I did it.
I think we're all good. Great, brilliant everyone, well done. First stage done. So what we need to do is just pop the dough into our bowl, and I've just got a clean tea towel here. I'm just going to cover it just so that the dough doesn't get too dry on top. And then I'm just going to give my hands a bit of a wipe with this clean towel. It's handy to have a damp towel near you if you don't have access to a sink to wash your hands in between. Just give this a quick wipe. Okay, so we move on to the next step. Right. So some of you, I think 20 of you, received spice packs for your chili oil. So we're going to make the chili oil next. It's a very simple recipe. It basically involves using dry spices, and if you do have any, just a slice of fresh ginger. So I'm just going to grab my ingredients. Hope I don't need to use too much essence. Okay, so I have a saucepan. My saucepan's quite big for this job, but this is the only one that works on my induction stove that's high-sided. So I'm just going to pop that onto the stove, and I'm going to put the stove on a medium heat. Okay, and then I have my vegetable oil measured out. I've got 250 millilitres of oil, and that is just plain vegetable oil, or rapeseed oil, I think it is. So you just need any vegetable oil, something that's not too flavoured. Some people like to use peanut oil, but there's lots of people with peanut allergies these days, so it's much safer to go with a plain vegetable oil. So I'm going to pop all of this oil into the saucepan so that it can start slowly warming up. And if you can keep this heat-proof jug to one just close by, because we're going to need it. So you should have been told in your equipment list that you received to prepare for today that you need a glass jar, a clean sterilised glass jar, because we're going to actually pop that chili oil into that glass jar or any other kind of container which you're going to be able to put the lid onto the chili oil to keep it for a couple of weeks in the fridge.
Pam, I've had a question. How important is the lid?
For
It doesn't say.
Frying Mitty Lane. Is this for frying the dumplings?
no, we're making the chili on them.
Just a normal saucepan.
Yeah, a saucepan that's going to hold like enough. It just needs to be like a small milk pan. Yeah.
And I've had another question. How important is the glass? And I imagine you mean how important is it the jug is glass rather than ceramic?
So it just needs to be heat-proof so that if you pour hot oil into it, which is what we're going to do, it's not going to crack. So anything that you would be able to put into the microwave. So if you have a ceramic jug, so for example, the one that I had water in, I could use that as well. Or if you have a glass Pyrex bowl, you could use that. Or, well, if you have a metal container that you could put with something like a heat-proof mat under it, as long as you can touch it, then you could also use that. Just something that's not going to melt or crack.
Thank you, Sam.
Brilliant. So just to kind of go over the ingredients of our chili, we have our chili flakes. So I'm just going to pop everything into the bowl. So whatever you're going to pour the oil into, you just need to pour all of the spices in. So my hot oil is going to go into this jug. So all the chili flakes go in. Just keep an eye on your oil. It does need to get quite hot. And then I've got my toasted sesame seeds. So all that goes in. And then this is my 5 spice. That's optional, so if you don't have it, don't worry about it. I've got 2 bay leaves. They go in. And I've got my star anise.
I've got no star anise.
And then I've got my slice of ginger, which again is optional. Just keep an eye on the oil. Once it starts smoking, we're going to turn it off. And then I have a teaspoon of ground Sichuan pepper. Now, Sichuan pepper is more widely available as the whole peppercorn. I've managed to find a little bottle of the ground one. So you can buy the peppercorns and grind them yourself with the pestle and water. Okay, I'm going to turn my oil on. It's hot enough now. So you can, someone's just asked about ground star anise. So you can use ground star anise, but don't worry about it. You don't have to use any star anise because that's just going to add a slight aniseedy flavour. We don't want it to be too overpowering. And
someone asked, do you chop it?
No. So I have kept my ginger whole, just 1 slice of it. And I'm just going to pop my peppercorn in. So people who receive the spice packs, you have whole peppercorns, which is fine. Don't worry about having to grind them. You can use them whole as well. as I said, it's a lot easier to find them whole. And yet the bay leaves are whole.
Yes, bay leaves are whole. We've had a question, so I'll answer that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I have all of my spices in the jug, and I'm going to get myself a spoon. I'm going to use a metal one because it's just going to go in there to stir everything up as soon as oil hits it. So this part, if there is any children who are helping out today, just be very careful.
Sam, are black sesame seeds okay?
You can use black sesame seeds as long as they're toasted. Then that's what's important, because it's the toasting of the sesame seed that releases the oils and the flavour of the sesame. Okay, now I don't want my oil to cool too much, so I'm just going to pour it straight into my spices. And it will sizzle. I don't know if you saw that on camera, it does sizzle, and you have to be very, very careful, which is why you need the heat-proof bowl. So we'll just let that sit for a minute. I'm just going to remove my bowl, or my pan. And then once it stops sizzling, we're just going to give it a stir.
Gail's sesame seeds are not toasted, but she has some sesame oil. Would that suffice?
Yeah, so you can add that in after you poured the hot oil into the spice. Okay, so mine stopped sizzling now. I'm just going to give it a quick stir. Now what you have done is created an infused oil. So all of those spices are going to flavour the oil. You've got 250 millilitres of oil here. And if you've got a big glass jar, then that is going to be 1 jar full of chili oil. But if you want to make smaller jars and give them out as gifts to people, they're quite nice to give out to people as little tasters. If you've got, like, you can get little jam jars, they're quite cute to give out. But I would say that this chili oil probably needs a couple of days to infuse for the best flavour. So that is our chili oil done.
Just one question regarding the sesame seed oil, how much to add?
Okay, so I would add probably about half a teaspoon. It depends on, if you've got a blended sesame oil, then I would put 1 teaspoon. If it's pure sesame oil, half a teaspoon. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, so our chili oil is done. I'm just going to move that to one side and we can get started and stop the time to move the dumplings. Okay? Right, so if you just bear with me 1 minute, I am going to go and grab my mincemeat from the fridge. So we're going to make our filling now.
Can we have thumbs up if everyone's okay? Fantastic, fantastic. Thumbs up, everyone's happy? Brilliant, thank you. Oh, fantastic. Lots of thumbs up, Sam.
Oh, perfect. Well done, everyone. Let's have a look at the time. It's only 6:30. We've got loads of time. Okay, so I have some minced chicken thigh meat. Is anybody doing vegetarian today?
We've got a tofu question. I'm using tofu. How do you want it sliced?
Okay, so is it firm tofu that you're using?
I don't know. Yeah, Glynis, is it firm? Yes, me. Yep, quite a few vegetarian.
Okay, so firm tofu.
Is it firm tofu, Glynis? Dave? Yes, firm.
Perfect. So with firm tofu, you just need to squeeze it to try and get the water out, and then it'll start crumbling because you're squeezing it so much, and that's what we need. We need it to be all crumbly. So it kind of, the biggest crumb will be like when you've got mincemeat. So if everybody who's got tofu just gets their block and just squeezes as much moisture out as possible and then just squashes, I just use my hands and just squash the cloth of the tofu and then it'll just start crumbling into the mixing bowl. So you're going to need a mixing bowl that's pretty decent size so that you can add all the rest of the ingredients in. I've got 500 grams of chicken thigh meat. Now, more traditionally, people would have pork mince in a Chinese dumpling. However, you can make a dumpling with whatever fillings you like. You can have just vegetables, you can have tofu, you can have beef, turkey, anything. I always go for a meat that has a higher fat content. You actually see that some people end up buying 2 types of meat and blending it together to get a different texture. And the reason why we want to use a meat that's got a higher fat content is because it actually makes the filling nice and juicy. So when it comes to eating it, it gives you a much nicer texture and you're not going to have a really dry kind of meatball-y feeling about the inside of the dumpling. So that's why I'm using chicken thigh. If I was using chicken breast, it would really dry out really quickly. So chicken thigh meat, not taking any of the extra fat out of it. I've just been to my local butcher's, asked him for 500 grams of chicken thigh meat and asked him to mix it for me. That's the result of it. So if everyone's ready, what we're going to do is get the rest of our ingredients. So I've got water chestnuts. Now, some of you might be using cabbage because water chestnuts can be difficult to get hold of from supermarkets. And I have chopped my water chestnuts up to about that fine. And the reason I've done that is because I don't want to poke holes in my dumpling wrapper. So if your cabbage or water chestnut is a bit coarser than that, you'll just need to get a knife on it again and just chop it up a little bit more. Okay, and then the optional ingredients for the greens in the filling are some chopped up coriander and chopped up spring onions. So you may have received a different recipe. One of the recipes that I sent to Elaine, unfortunately, I didn't put spring onions into it. So some of you may not have it, but don't worry. It's not an essential ingredient, it's just to add flavour and to add a little bit of colour. So I'm going to use both the coriander and the spring onions today. Again, don't worry about you using it if you don't have it. And then we have our flavours, which are, over here. So I'm going to use this pure sesame oil, and I've got some light soy sauce, and I've got some black pepper. Okay, so if you've got everything in front of you, we'll start adding our flavours. So I'm just going to use a tablespoon, and I'm just going to try and separate out the meat a little bit, just so that I don't have one clump. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and just pour that in. And then using a teaspoon, I'm going to use half a teaspoon of black pepper. Sprinkle that over. And then we've got 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, different regions of China will use different flavourings in their dumplings. So feel free to chop and change things. You might want to put some chilli into it if you like spicy food. We're going to we're having ours with a chili oil dip, so I didn't want to add anything spicy into this one. We're just going to mix it all up so that all of that seasoning and the flavour that we put into there is nice and evenly mixed. Now, if you have ended up getting a leaner cut of meat, so if you, for example, you've gone for a minced pork, you kind of out of habit, you've got something like a lean mince, then you might want to actually put a bit of vegetable oil into this, just so that you don't get a really dry filling. And I'd suggest the same for the vegetarians and vegans who are joining us today, because your tofu doesn't have that same fattiness that meat does. So I would get some vegetable oil and add 1 table of vegetable oil into this mix. You don't have to, but it would give you a much nicer texture when you go. Okay, so that's all the seasonings mixed in. So now I'm going to add my horser chestnuts. As I said before, you might have white cabbage, but I'm using horser chestnuts. Cabbage is a very traditional vegetable to put into the dumplings, and I'm just going to mix that in now. You can use different types of cabbage, but you do need to make sure it's chopped up quite finely. But what the water chestnuts and the cabbage do is add a nice crunchy texture to the dumpling. So with any Chinese food, we always think about texture. You've got the nice soft outer layer of the dumpling dough. Then you've got the kind of the meatball-y effect that the dumpling filling has. So you kind of want something to cut through that a little bit. And then I'm going to add my small bunch of chopped coriander and my spring onions. Okay. Right, so we just need to mix that up evenly. So I quite like adding greens into mine, because when you bite into the dumpling, it's nice to see that colour, and it also adds a lot of extra flavour. You get the green onion and the coriander adding a nice fragrance to the food. But a lot of people really dislike coriander, so obviously if you're cooking for people who are not too keen, you can just leave it out.
Sam had a question. How much cabbage should we use? Half a head is looking like a lot.
There should be a quarter of a head of cabbage.
Quarter of a head of cabbage.
Yeah, so it depends on how big the cabbage is as well, because obviously it's cabbage season in the UK, so you get huge things, don't you? But yeah. You need, so if you think about the rice bowl, I had a small rice bowl, so enough to fill a small rice bowl. I would say like 2 handfuls, basically.
Thank you.
Right, how is everyone getting on? Has anyone got any questions? I saw some thumbs up there.
I've got coriander is devil's lettuce.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love coriander. I put it in everything. I went to my local South Asian wholesaler, and they sell coriander by the bunch. It's so cheap. So whenever I go, I just buy bunches and bunches. I think it was 2 huge bunches for £1. And, you know, it's about 5 or 10 times the size of the ones that you actually get from the supermarket. But yeah, I put it in everything. Okay, so that's my filling. Hopefully everybody else's looks similar to that. Yeah? Great.
Sam, should we have put soy in yet?
Oh, sugar. Yeah. Did you not put soy sauce in? We've got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Sorry, I added that in at the beginning. I might not have said that.
You did. Expand on what was the third ingredient that you put in?
Some sesame oil and white pepper.
Thank you.
Perfect. So it's half a teaspoon of white pepper and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Okay, so I am going to set my filling to one side.
Have you got time to tell us where the wholesalers for your coriander is?
Yes, so I'm based in Manchester, and there's several that I go to. If you are near the University of Manchester on Oxford Road, you will come across Bush Home, which is just further up the road, next to Whitworth Park, and there is a wholesaler called Worldwide Food, and they're amazing. They actually have branches all over. They may actually have them over in Merseyside as well, because they seem to be a chain. And yeah, they have just a huge green grocery section. They've got a halal meat counter. So I got my chicken from there. And yeah, they just have loads of dry goods that are really super cheap. So I went there because I was doing a big shop for Cracking Kitchens, and we needed to buy lots of spices and herbs and things like, you know, curry leaves and cumin seeds and that kind of thing. And it's just super, super cheap to get food from there. So I go quite regularly. But for Chinese food, I tend to go to Beijing or WH Lung. I know in Liverpool, I used to live there a while ago, and there is a wholesaler called I think they're called Tai Pan. So they've got a restaurant underneath, and sorry, no, the restaurant is above, and the wholesaler is underneath. Not too far from Costco. Yeah. So they are an amazing supermarket to go to get all of the Chinese food provisions as well. You get a lot of like Japanese and Korean and Thai and Vietnamese food there as well. So it's a great place to go to explore and spend a while. Okay.
We've had another question. Did we put the potato starch in yet?
Oh no, I haven't added potato starch in. But if you are using tofu, then put the potato starch in, because the potato starch is going to help soak up some liquid. I don't use it for my chicken thighs because not very much liquid is released out of it. So it really depends on what you're using. If you're using like a lean meat, it can release quite a lot of liquid. So potato starch or corn flour, they're used interchangeably, and that is used to help to soak up some of that extra liquid that comes out of meat when it's cooked. So if you feel that you do need to use it, then pop it in. Even if you're not too sure, just put it in anyway, because it's not really going to affect the final result of the flavour of the meat. But if you have tofu, it is a good idea to use it because it is going to release more moisture. Okay.
Amanda, I have the very dense tofu. There's very little water. Does that still need more starch?
No. If it's got no very little water, then you're fine, because you can get extra firm tofu or just regular firm. So if you've got the extra firm one, you're fine.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, has everybody done their filling yet? Can we move on to rolling out some dough? Yeah, seems like everybody's
Can we have some thumbs up, everyone?
So something that we didn't ask at the beginning of the session, actually, so I should probably ask. Amanda would usually take photos of the Zoom call so that we can use it to share on our social media. If anybody has any problem, not problem, but if you do not want to be on social media, please can you put it onto our chat box? And then when it comes to us taking photos, we can block out your image and make sure that we don't share that. Okay. Right, what are we doing? We've done the chili oil, we've done the dumpling mixture. We're going to go back to our dough. So our dough has rested. Ideally, we would rest our dough for about half an hour. But we don't really have that time today. Don't worry, we can still use it. So I am just going to lightly dust my worktop with some flour. I'm going to keep the flour to hand me in case I need it. And I'm going to get my ball of dough. Okay, so if you feel your dough now, you'll feel that it's actually gone quite a lot softer than it used to be. It's quite fun to play with now. I love playing with dough. It's like Play-Doh. So you can see it's quite soft nice and stretchy. So what we're going to do is actually tear this dough into roughly 4 balls. And then we're just going to set them to one side. They don't have to be perfect balls, we're just portioning them up into manageable sizes. So don't worry about weighing it, getting them exactly the right size. We're just trying to get them into manageable sizes. So if you've got quite a hot kitchen, what you're going to do is get your tea towel. I've got a light straight in front of me, so I'm going to do this. I want them to dry out. And I'm just going to drape a tea towel over the dough that I'm not using, just to protect it a little bit. And then I've got a nice clean floured surface here. Okay, so this is the fun bit of dumpling making. I think it's fun anyway. So, if you just watch what I'm doing in the camera, so you can see that side shot that I was mentioning earlier, I'm just kneading the dough into itself, just to try and get it into a smooth ball. It doesn't have to be the perfect ball, it's just to get it nice and smooth. And then I'm just rubbing it in between my palms quite vigorously to try and get it into a long sausage shape. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a little sausage shape. And that just helps us to portion out our dough a little bit more. So this recipe, you might be able to get 30 dumplings out of it, which is a hell of a lot of dumplings to eat. But as I said, this is a recipe that you do with friends and family around. And don't worry if you don't have anyone to share the dumplings with, because these are amazing at freezing really well. So what I tend to do when I've got a whole recipe worth of dumplings is I pop them all onto a baking tray and put the whole baking tray into the freezer. Once the dumplings are completely frozen, then I pop them into a Ziploc bag or a food saver or Tupperware, anything like that. So you do it whilst it's raw, you don't do it whilst it's cooked. And then they are amazingly delicious homemade dumplings when you are ready to eat your dumplings or ready to share them with your visitors, if they're lucky enough. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that, but I just pinched off the end of my dough and I cut about a large walnut size or a small ping pong ball worth of dough in my hand. And I've just rolled it between my palms into a ball. If your dough isn't very soft, you can knead it a little bit more. I think I just saw a question pop up. If it's a bit tough, you just need a little bit more kneading. Okay.
Just to confirm, if your dough's a little tough, you need to knead it a little longer.
Yeah.
Need to knead.
Knead. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so next step. So we've got one ball of. If you just watch what I'm doing first, then you can make your first one. So I've got the flat palm of my hand, and I'm going to squash that down. You see? And that forms a disc. And then I'm going to get my rolling pin and I'm going to roll that disc into a bigger disc. And each time I roll it, I'm just turning that disc around so that I can try and keep it into a rough circle. Don't worry if yours isn't a circle, because it does take a lot of practice. It's like when you're making flatbreads on chapters. I am terrible at making flatbreads. But when it's a small disc like this, I tend to be better. So I have rolled my disc of dumpling dough to around the size of the palm of my hand, just overlapping a tiny bit. So that's kind of the size that you're looking at. Has everybody managed to do their first disc?
Everyone looks very busy.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of, I'll give you a minute or so to catch up. If you have done your first disc like this, then feel free to move on to doing another one. We can work at our own pace a little bit here. So again, I've got a ball of dough. I'm going to squash it with the palm of my hand and then slowly roll it out. So if you have a few people doing this around the kitchen table or around the worktop, then you can kind of have one person rolling out the dough and the other one filling dumplings, so you've got a bit of a production line. But if you're doing this yourself, then I would suggest that maybe you roll a few discs out first, and then you kind of have a bit of flour in between each one to stop them from sticking. That's really important, make sure that you flour in between each one. Otherwise you will end up with one mass stuck together pile of dough, especially if your kitchen's quite humid. And then you will have a little stack of dumpling wrappers that you can start crimping. So I'm on my third one, but I'm going to stop now because I want to show you how to make the dumpling. So by now, everyone should have at least one disc.
We've got a question. To freeze them, did you say fill them and then freeze them raw?
Yes.
Yes.
If you freeze these as one stack, they will just merge together into one ball of dough again. So you do need to freeze them when they've been made into dumplings. It is possible to cook the dumplings and freeze them cooked, but it's not very nice because when you have to defrost it and reheat it, they just go a bit rubbery, not very tasty. And it is really easy to freeze them raw and cook them straight from raw. You cook them in exactly the same way, but you just cook them for a couple of minutes longer. Okay, now, has everybody got at least one disc? Yeah? I'm going to move on. Perfect, right. So, move that to one side. As you can see, out of that one sausage of dough, I've still got tons of it left, so there's going to be quite a lot. Okay, so I'm going to get myself a teaspoon. I've got my filling here. Now, again, I'm going to ask you to just watch the camera so that you can see how I do the first one. I'm going to demonstrate two different ways. I'm going to do the really easy way that would mean that you can make them really quickly. And then I'm going to show you how to crimp them so that they look more like a traditional gyoza or gaudi dumpling. So I have a teaspoon and I've got my dumpling wrapper in my left hand. So depending on which hand you use predominantly, you're going to be wrapping with your dominant hand. So I'm going to get a heaped teaspoon of the filling. Okay, so that's how much filling I've got. You do want to be generous, but maybe if the first time that you do it, if it's the first time making dumplings, then maybe put a little bit less in. So it might look like it's not going to wrap, but remember that your dough is quite stretchy, it's got quite a lot of gluten in. So then you need to make sure that the dough is completely clean all the way around the edges so that it sticks together. Now your dough is freshly made, which means that it will stick together very easily. If you have a dough which is a bit older, for example, you kind of left to one side, you kind of made it in the morning and now you're crimping your dumplings, you may need a little bit of water to help to stick that together. Well, ours is fresh, so what we're going to do is just fold it into this half moon shape, and then we're just going to pinch it together like that. So as you can see, it's stuck together really easily. And that's our first dumpling made. Congratulations everyone, first dumpling made. Oh, they look great.
Oh, some happy faces.
Hello? Simple, isn't it? Nice and easy.
Wow.
Okay. Right, so now I'm going to show you a way that's a little bit more complicated. So you should have on your equipment list a baking tray. And that baking tray is so that you have somewhere to line all of your dumplings onto. So what you need to do is get a flat surface. If you've got quite a lot of space around you, so I've got a little bit of extra space, I'm just going to put some flour on it, and I'm going to pop my dumplings that I've made onto that surface to stop it from sticking. I'll grab a baking tray later, just to get them out of the way, and that means that you can just line them up nicely and have them away out of the way. So, next one, I've got 1 disc of dough. I'm just going to show you crimping. Okay, so again, 1 heaped teaspoon of the filling. And I'm going to bring the middle together. And then I'm going to use my index finger and thumb to pinch and take the dough back on myself. So if I just stop speaking and just let you see. So hopefully you saw that. I pulled the edge that's closest to me towards me, and then I have pushed it back, sorry, off camera, pushed it back so that it forms a pleat. And then I can squeeze the edges together. So I've got this more traditional gyoza shape, gyoza shape. Did everybody see that? I'll do it again. Pop some flour on the bottom to stop it from sticking. Okay, I'm going to show you again. Got my meat in the middle, my filling in the middle. So I bring the 2 edges together. So I've got that half moon shape. And then I'm pinching and pulling the side that's closest to me. So you're making a fold and then you're pushing it back onto. So it looks like that on the back. One side is straight and one side is pleated. How's everybody getting on with that?
We've got some smiles. Any thumbs up? Any? Yeah, I got a thumbs up. And some more. Oh, we've got a dumpling.
Okay, right, so I am going to carry on. So this is the bit where you can concentrate. If you've got any questions, I have time to answer questions now. So feel free to ask. If you want to show me your dumpling, you can unmute yourself and you can have a look at what you got. If you're struggling, then I can give you a bit of advice on it.
Everyone looks quite busy. Concentrating.
So, when you're doing the bit that comes together, what happens to the bit at the very bottom? So, if you're... It's so long. No,
I can hear.
so you get to that bit, and then there's just this corner bit. What happens with that?
Okay, I need Amanda to spotlight you so that I can see dumpling.
Is that Lancashire Roses?
Yes. That was our quiz team name.
Can you see, Sam?
So after you've done that bit, what do you do with the large gap?
Okay, so you're going to pleat it again until you've got no gap left.
So you just keep. Okay.
And then it comes its own point. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly right.
Right. Thank you.
Great. You're looking really good. Well done.
Amanda, how do you ensure that they're fully sealed?
Who's that? I've got to scroll through. Is that...
Hello, Amanda?
Yeah, and what's your name and I'll find you?
Ed?
Ed, right.
Ensure that they're fully sealed.
So the dough should be nice and tacky, so when you pull it, you're stretching the dough, and because it's not got flour on it, it's becoming sticky again, and that will help it to seal. But if you find that you've got too much flour on your dumpling wrapper, then maybe that will stop it from sticking. So use a little bit of water, like maybe you just wet your finger and just touch it along the seam that you're trying to crimp, and that will help it to seal, because any flour that's on there, the water will bind that and it'll be like a glue.
Sure.
Yeah?
Hi there. I'm number 9728, whatever it is, but I'm Claire really.
Okay.
Is it just an aesthetic thing? You know, the crimping, or does it really matter? Does it make it taste any better or more flavour?
No, you are right. Yeah. So the first one that I showed you, just putting it into that half moon shape, is just like you do, just pick from.
But if you want to win the sweatshirts, have you got to crimp them all then? I'm only joking.
I'm not too sure. I don't want to be advising on that. It seems to be quite a sought after sweatshirt. Yeah. Oh, is it that red one? The one that Mark's wearing? Okay. I can see why. It's nice and red. It's the colour of Chinese New Year. I probably want one.
I've got a new message.
So, the dumplings, I don't know if I mentioned
don't forget to take your photos, everyone, if you get a chance.
Yeah. We'll do a final shot at the end when we've all cooked our dumplings and we can just hold them up to the camera.
Okay.
But yeah, the reason why we crimp the dumplings in this way is because they resemble the old-style Chinese money, which is called the ingot. And if we are making the dumplings in this shape, it's basically symbolism that is saying that we're wishing people good fortune into the new year. So it's really not important that it's this shape, because there are lots of different shapes of dumplings. But this one is just the more traditional one that's used for New Year. So if you're really struggling with this, don't worry about it. You really don't have to have them in this shape. Now, I run this dumpling making class quite a lot. I'd say that in the last 3 weeks, I've done it 5 times. So you can imagine how many dumplings I have. But I've also got a lot of friends who are willing to take them off my hands.
So I have been doing doorstop drops. So you might want to consider that if you don't want to have that many. So what time are we on? We're on 7:10, so we're due to finish in 20 minutes. Now, I want to make sure that you have at least 5 dumplings that you can cook. Ideally, you would have more because you'd want to fill the pan, but just in terms of the time, I really want to show you how to cook them. So try and make sure that you've got at least 5. Once I'm just going to make 2 more because I've rolled out the dough. Once I've done with those, then I probably want you to stop so that we can actually cook. And then we'll have some dumplings ready for the end of the class so we can try them together and take a nice group photo with them. You can carry on making dumplings after this class is over. The night is young. Unfortunately, because Amanda and I are in our own homes, she doesn't get to try any dumplings.
Yeah, all this food.
I think you're the only one tonight that's not going to have any.
Yeah.
You'll have to just make some.
Yeah. Well, I can now.
You know how to do it.
I know how to do it.
Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of my dough. Try and scoop my dumpling off. Okay, so has everybody got about 5 or 6 dumplings that they can cook? You still going? Yeah?
Oh, someone's got... Lancashire Roses have got about 9.
Wow.
Oh, and Joanne's got loads as well. There's going to be some dumplings.
Powering through.
Oh! Everyone's done a marvellous job.
You're doing really, really well. Okay, now make this your last one. And get yourself a flat frying pan that has a tight fitting lid, or use a wok like I am. So we've got 40 participants today. Well, maybe taking me and Amanda off, it's probably 36, maybe 37.
Yeah, 37.
Yeah, that's great. It's really good turnout. Okay, right. So everyone, I want you to be at your hobs or your stove, and we are going to cook up some dumplings. So if you are near a kettle, then pop that kettle on because we're going to need some hot water. I just have some in a flask next to me, ready to go. And we need some oil. So I'm just going to get some, I've just got olive oil because it's the only oil that I've got in a nice looking bottle. But use vegetable oil if you can get it. We'll turn the stove on. And we're going to go for a medium heat. Okay. And we're going to put 1 tablespoon of oil in the bottom of the pan. If you do want quite a lot of oil, because we are frying the bottom of the dumplings, and especially if you don't have a non-stick wok or non-stick pan, it's better to use more oil to make sure it doesn't stick.
Sam, is it customary to boil them first?
Well, if you boil them, they're a different type of dumpling, they're boiled dumplings. So we're making hot stickers, so we're frying them, and then we add water to steam them, and then we fry them again to make them crispy. But if you want to have boiled dumplings, then just boil them. You can use these anyway. Okay, so my oil started smoking, so I just turned it back down, and I'm just going to pop my dumplings in. I'll show you inside my oil. 1 tablespoon.
And can we use spray oil?
You can, but you need to make sure there's a decent amount of oil in there so it doesn't stick. We do want a crispy bottom. They're called pot stickers because they have a nice crispy bottom.
Does the oil have to be hot before you put them in? Very hot?
Not very hot, just slightly sizzling. I'm just going to move my camera so you can see what's inside my one. So that's what it looks like. I've lined them up so that they're not close to each other because they will expand. And they're sitting upright so that I can get as many into the pot as I can. So you want it on a heat so that the bottom of the pot sticker is making contact with the pan. Is slightly sizzling, but it's not too hot that it doesn't burn, because there's a 3-stage process of cooking. Just going to move my camera back. Okay, so that's on a medium to low heat. Now, as long as everybody's got their dumplings in the pan, we're going to move on to adding the water. Sorry, I just need to sip the water. Okay, so I'm going to add hot water to mine, and it's going to just cover the bottom of the pan by about ½ centimetre. So again, I'm going to move the camera so you can see. There's barely any water in there, and it's only just coming to a simmer. So about, probably even less than ½ centimetre of water. Then I'm going to put the lid on. Nice tight big lid.
Is that boiling water?
Mine was hot water that we were in class, so we had been boiled. It was quite warm. And what we want to do is to bring that water to low simmer. So if you've got hot water that's straight from the kettle, then that's going to happen quite quickly. I think my water's cooled down. It's been probably about an hour and a half to the class. So I'm going to turn up my stove to a medium heat to try and get that water boiling. Once it boils, I'm going to knock it back down to a low simmer. So it stays in the pot, simmering away and cooking the inside of our dumpling. So all of that raw meat or the raw filling is going to be cooked in the next 3 to 5 minutes. And the reason we do the steaming is because that also creates enough heat in the pan to cook the dumpling dough. So we don't need to touch those dumplings. They're not surrounded by water. If you were boiling the dumplings, then they would boil much faster, they would cook much faster because they're submerged in hot water. But we're steaming them. We're frying them and steaming them at the same time. So hopefully everybody has managed to get to that stage. So at this point, I am just going to move my stove out of the way because we're just waiting for the dumplings to cook. So if you want to carry on making your dumplings, this is a good time to carry on making more. And then again, I can take questions.
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, and we're going back to freezing them. Do you cook them straight from frozen, or do you have to defrost them first?
Yeah, I would cook them straight from frozen because if you defrost them, the dough becomes really sticky and overly wet because it's had a lot of moisture contact, and it would just turn into a big fluid. So you cook them straight from frozen.
Okay, thank you.
I just ask, what if we're a bit heavy-handed with the water?
Then that's fine. You can boil them up. So once we have cooked the filling, which usually takes about 5 minutes, we take the lid off and we boil off the rest of the liquid that's left in there. So don't worry about that. We'll just turn up the heat and boil off any excess water.
What other sauce besides chili oil, as I'm allergic?
Okay, so a really traditional one that I usually have is a really simple vinegar and soy sauce dip. So it's equal parts of light soy sauce, and I use black rice vinegar. You can't find it in big supermarkets now, but it's more readily available in the Chinese supermarket. If you don't find that, then Worcester sauce or balsamic vinegar is a nice alternative because that vinegar has been fermented and you get the same kind of flavour from balsamic vinegar or Worcester sauce if you don't mind having the fish in there. So it's equal parts soy sauce and Worcester sauce. So I use, for one person, 2 tablespoons of each. And then I would add a sprinkle of sugar, and then if you like coriander and spring onions and garlic and ginger, then you can finely chop the coriander and the spring onions, and then I would grate or finely mince the ginger and the garlic, mix it all together, and you have the most divine something. It's really delicious. You can add chili to that as well if you like something spicy. So if you have a look at your pot, if you've got a glass lid like I have, just check that there's still some water in there. So if you've been a bit light-handed with water, you might need to add some extra water in it. I can still see that mine's simmering away. I'm going to turn that down slightly, just to keep that cooking. So the more that you make these dumplings, the quicker you can get them making them. And there's lots of different shapes of dumplings that you can do. So if you go online, have a look at some YouTube videos. There's some really amazing, really pretty dumpling shapes that you can make, where you can stick to your half moons, your presents. So it's nearly 7:25. We might run over by about 5 minutes. Hope everyone's okay with that. I think it might be because we had a little bit of a late start. So as long as everyone's okay to stay for another 5 minutes, as I said, you can continue to make your dumplings at the end of the class.
Do you have a favourite shape, Sam?
Favourite shape? I like making good shape because is easier for me. I make another shape that's a circular shape. So if everyone's ever had any rule of bow, which is like the circular one, I'm not able to show you how to make it. Let's make a mini one. I find it more difficult to do. So if you want to have a look at the camera, we kind of pleat around the dough. So you pull it and group it. Kind of have to push the filling left hand. You kind of create that shape. So there's a circular one. Find a little dumpling.
We've got another question. How do we keep the cooked ones? How do we keep the cooked ones warm whilst we cook the rest?
Okay, so I would eat them. Because it's mainly what to eat. So I would have them now as a bit of a light dinner or a snack, and then make the rest of the dumplings and then cook them in big batches. We've just done quite a small batch together. Okay, so 5 minutes is up. I'm going to take the lid off. And I'm going to move my camera. This is what I've done.
Someone's water's already all gone. Is that okay? They need to add more?
No, that's fine. You just need to turn the heat down. So I'm going to turn mine on to evaporate the rest of the water. So we just want all of that water to be gone. Once the water is gone, you're still left with that oil in the pan originally, and that oil will crisp it up the bottom of the dumplings again.
So it's fine to have that sizzling noise.
It's about putting oil in the water. So all that water is just the water.
So with the round ones, do you have to like twist them?
Yeah. I'll try you to have to again, like the one with the couple of these ones. And then the one. Okay, so when you get to the stage that I'm at now, it's not this is all in my room. So then you turn it around now. And the oil that's left in that pan is now slowly pan frying with my dumplings. Give them that plastic pop sticker, crispy brown underneath it.
Sam, we've had a question. What shall we do with the leftover filling?
So the leftover filling, if you run out of dough and you've got extra filling, you can just turn those into little meat patties. So you've kind of got like, you know, little fish ball or meatball shapes. So I would just cook them up in patties and just have them in a stir fry. Just stir fry some vegetables with them. Or you can stir fry it up, and then if you've got leftover rice, make yourself some fried rice.
And would you be able to freeze that for the next time?
You can do. It would release some water, So I would put some corn flour in to soak that up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to turn up my heat a little bit. So I've just used some tongs to pick up one of my dumplings to see what it's like. So at the moment, they're not very brown underneath. So I am just browning them. Just pick each one up just to check out it's looking good. And then if we all get a plate, so that we can pop our dumplings onto them. So do check your dumplings because some people will have finished cooking those in the week. It really depends on your pan, your stove, the heat level you want on. So sometimes you might have them already. If you can see, the one that I had is a flat crescent shape. That's already done, so that's what we're aiming for, that's boiling. So I'm going to put that on my presentation plate. And then this one, that's pretty done as well. So I'm just going to take that out. You might have spots still in your pan. So for example, the centre of my pan is much hotter than the edges. So I'm going to take all my dumplings out. I'm done. Turn that on. Okay, so is anyone still cooking?
I don't think so. Anyone still cooking? Everyone looks very busy, plating up.
Everyone's making up, excellent. Right.
We've only got 2 cooked. You can finish them up after.
Are the rest of them in the pan? If the rest of them in the pan, then that's fine. Just allow them to continue to cook. So I've just got a little dip bowl that I'm just going to put some of my chili oil into. So you've got your whole spices and your bay leaves in there. If you want to just leave those in, that'll slowly infuse. Just don't serve it with the food. Sorry, I just saw somebody comment that there's violent spitting going on. That's quite normal. You might need to turn the heat down a little bit if it's particularly violent. It does get very spitty. That's because there's still a little bit of liquid left in there. You've got your oil as well. Okay, right. How are we getting on?
How's it looking good? Right, we've got everyone looks busy.
Everyone's still going.
Right. Jude's packed plate. I'll spotlight it. Wow, look at that.
Oh, look at them. Well done, Jude. They look delicious.
Thanks. One of them was really quite big. That one cooked a bit longer.
Yeah. You do get them different sizes, so don't worry. So I'm just going to show you my plates.
Oh, we've got another one here. Spotlight. Joanne.
Oh,
delicious. Oh, Gail. Spotlight. Look at those.
Wow. I like the pattern that you've created there as well. Nice dip in the middle. And I can see George's as well. That looks great.
Look at Molly's. Spotlight. There's a look at that with the garnish.
Oh, wow.
Karen, did we see Karen?
So I think Claire was trying to show us hers.
This is so stupid. How do I show it to you? I've got my iPad, but I don't. Am I just to show you to point the camera down on it?
Yeah, and then I have to find you and spotlight you.
Okay. Well, I'm just. I don't know whether that's the right angle.
Where are you?
I'm 972405.
Right, hang on.
The glasses. What should I do?
There we are. There you are. Spotlighted. Fantastic. Please for those.
Ready?
And look, we've got cakes here. Wow.
Has anybody tasted them?
No.
Let's try them.
We're about to try ours.
Okay, so before you completely demolish them, can we try and get a group photo of everybody's dumplings, please?
Sounds good.
We finished ours. You finished eating them? Yeah, no. We just put one on a plate, there you go. Amanda.
Right, I'm just gonna and a brilliant photo. They look amazing. Wow.
Talking about everyone's photos on now.
I've done a few prints.
Well done, everybody. Okay, so if anybody sorry? So yeah, if anybody's got any more questions, you can send us an email if there's anything that you want clarifying. So my email address is just sam@crackinggoodfood.org. Elaine has my contact details, so she can always pass them on as well if anyone doesn't catch that. So I'm happy to take any questions about the food, but we are going to leave you with your dumplings and say thank you so much. Happy Lunar New Year, Happy Chinese New Year from everybody at Cracking Good Food. You have been an amazing group each. You've all done amazingly well. Well done. Kung Hei Fat Toy.
Sam? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just one quick question about how long do they boil for?
Okay, so boil them for between 5 and 8 minutes, depending on how big they are.
Okay. Right, we're getting lots of lovely thank yous, so thank you to you all for being such an amazing.
Thanks, everyone.
Could you quickly put how many round?
Okay, I'll just do round 1.
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep flying.
Say that again.
Just keep flying. I'm going to do a quick demo of round 1.
Sorry. Sam, I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
We tried to keep up. I don't think our dumplings will win the beauty competition. Thank you so much.
Everyone should put their pictures.
Picture.
Yeah, amazing prizes to be won. Okay, I'm just going to demonstrate the circular one. Okay, so I'm just doing the first pinch, and then I'm just gathering the next pinch along, and just bringing the pinches towards me, and just keep doing that, and it suddenly starts forming like a ball shape as you keep going round. Just keep going round, and then you need to bring it with you. And just twist it to seal it, and then you've got your ball.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Give that a practice. Welcome.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Right, so I think we're going to end the Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Elaine. We'll contact each other by email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Sam, I'm going to turn it off.
Yes, thanks, Amanda. I'll give you a quick call.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Lovely to meet you all. Bye.
tamale.